Hi everyone, I'm Jewel and you're watching Director's Analysis of Anyone Absent Today opening sequence. As the director, producer, writer, and editor of Anyone Absent today I'm going to dissect all the things that have been included in the opening scene. Okay, without further ado, let's get into it. Arky Productions, my production company. Yeah, that is the first scene of Anyone Absent Today. It's a very quick paced scene, and just like any other feature length film or just like films in general out there, we have the items of the production company as well as the distribution company. As you can tell, there is only one ident here because I want to keep my film opening simple, and we also have a time restriction of about 2 minutes. It's a very special name, and it means something like doing it with all of your hearts and all of your passion, and I think it describes my vision well as for like something I'd like to achieve. And the typography too, it's very simple. It's just like a handwritten fonts, and it's a blank page. It's a white font, so like there are so like endless options and endless possibilities of how the things that we create can turn out. Okay, let's move on. A fade and okay, first scene, and we already have the music playing. So this is the first scene of an. It looks quite it's very fast because we have like different cuts in between, and you can see that I try to use a Dutch angle. You can see that it's a bit tilted, and I took inspiration from it's It movie, the It movie with the scary clown stuff. I saw their chase scene was so traumatizing. But like different cuts between the chaser and the person being chased. So there are various scenes, there are various angles, direction that they film them from, ways to show that he's being chased and like his mentality is not okay. Dutch angle. So that's why I implemented this. So in theory, Dutch angle is used when you want to create like a distorted, very unsettling moment, or like there's something going on in the person's mentality. So in this case, I want to film Rachel being chased from behind. So it creates like an imbalanced feeling that she's running, but it's not very concrete, and the fact that she's running to like the dark side makes it even scarier. Like, see, you can see that it's like completely dark right here. You can't see anything. And now we have a different shot of her running, but from the side, right? So from this side, you can see her injuries on the face. Because my story follows a reverse chronological order, the opening scene is like the mix of the start and the end. This is near the end already. The handheld movements, it's the same for the other shots too. The handheld movements create more of a realistic portray of this very shaky scenes of being chased. Okay, now we have a different angle. Now is her feet running. At this part, can you see that it's like getting darker over here? Zone right here. This is not the place you want to enter because it's dark, and you know dark symbolizes evil and like just uncertainty, right? You know, the dark is very commonly portrayed in thriller films and horror films. Now the music has gotten, darker, right? It's cacophonous, not like very. the intensity, the tension is rising, and you can tell from listening to this track right here. And personally, I really like it too, because you know it has that clock ticking sound, and my film involves time. Now another scene of her like running, and you can see you can also see a bit of her injuries over here, even though it's a bit fast, and her neck, her collar also has blood, so it's also a work of me sensing to bring this character into life by showing that she's been through a lot. Throughout this scene, you can see that she's just being filmed from one side, so you can only see the side of her, and that side of her only shows that there's only one way to the right. And now you can see her point of view. This one. You can even hear the breathing sound. So this is a POV shot. You can tell from her breathing, and also from the shakiness, and the fact that you can't see her, and the fact that she just stayed in this position like a few seconds ago. And you know, in theory, POV shots are used to portray the character in a more like in-depth way by showing the audience what the character actually sees. And in this shot, it's very interesting because it's a chase scene, so it's gonna be a bit very rough. It can show you her shaky mentality, like from her POV, because it's an opening scene. You can't really understand her. But when you actually watch the entire feature-length film and everything starts to link together, now you would start to empathize with her more, and like, you know, the ending and the opening scene just click. And that's what I want you to get out of Anyone Absent Today, if it ever was to make into an entire feature-length film, which is very unlikely, but yeah. Oh, and also at this scene, I would also want to do this. I want to show you the plot device. Can you see like the black spot here? This is actually Joshua's hoodie, and I think you'll get it when you watch that the later scene, because the music has intensified now. There's no more clicking sound, so there is no more like black background. It's just continuous, very fast cutting. So like even more dramatic, because the music has been traumatized, and like no, it's reaching like there's a graph, like, so it's reaching like this. So like we're on here right now, so there's something going to happen like right afterwards. So that's why these are so fast, and like it's just like very thrilling for the audience, and I think that's what they really like too. So yeah. And so at this scene, you can see that Rachel's face a lot clearer. She is, this part, it's a bit creepy that she's looking into the camera, and I think that breaking the fourth wall of like cinema, it's always something that's really creepy. And okay, now this is more very dramatic close-up, but you can see that she's running, and you can see the plot device even clearer. Now it's a black screen, and that is the end of scene 1. So I think for this this scene specifically, I've used like quite a lot of like codes and conventions of thriller films, like handheld movements and Dutch angle and like very low-key lighting. And low-key lighting just provokes more of that airy feeling for your audience. And through of these, the combinations of close-up shots and like even close up, like not just her face but also her feet running, can like show a lot that she's been through stuff. It's unfortunate that I couldn't show the shirt, because like there's a lot of injuries on the shirt as well. Yeah. So let's keep moving to scene number 2. Okay, moving on to scene number 2, the classroom section. So this shot is, you can see this is extreme wide shot. I had hoped that this is an extreme wide shot, or at least a shot that's wider than this, because I wanna portray this. This is a POV, by the way. So this is like Hailey's viewpoint when she is standing at the door. You can see that it's a bit shaky, and right now you can see that her face, she looks a bit confused because she's looking around like, oh my god, what just happened? Like, why am I feeling weird? So this is why the subtle shaking in her POV, it's kind of like there's a like something sending shivers down your spine. It is an establishing shot too. It's like the entire classroom environment, and they're in the school. You can tell that they're in the school because they're students and desks. Try to establish a very natural mise en scene. So yeah, now we can see like in the wide shot again, an over shoulder shot, because this is Joshua's shoulder. It's a bit hard to see expression here, but it's still a bit distance to her as a person right now, Rachel. And yeah, she smiles back and she went back to her seat, which is quite normal, and this also provide hints into their relationship, in which I'll also explain in the representation section. So right now we have a medium close-up of Joshua, our male lead. Firstly, using a medium close-up is quite self-explanatory already, considering we are having a conversation and it's a common shot in reverse shot for filming conversations between like two characters. And I also utilized depth of field for this shot, so it's a shallow depth of field because the equipment I couldn't adjust it. I don't think I could film like a blurred background for this camera, so I had to do all of this in post-production by using Gaussian blur to achieve this blurry background effect. And there's also subtitles, so the audience can follow the story in an easier way. And also because the audio, I have received some feedback at the subtitles, and I thought like this is one of the best decisions I have made for anyone absent today, because not only did it improve like how people can hear the dialogue, but it also adds more to that like creepy feeling of a thriller film. You can't see her face very well because like her face is like a bit half cut, and you can see here too that the guy earlier is sleeping, which is what students often do. Very common, and it's very like a natural thing. So for this shot I used two shots. I used both like a medium wide shot, so you can see their positions, and I also used the same close-up shot so you can see his expression better. Yeah, very good acting. And you can also see his hoodie very well, which is a very important plot device, so please notice this. And now this is when you start to see Rachel in a clear way. So like the last scenes, her face was kind of like distant to us, right? And now it's clearer and we can see her a bit more. Original audio was quite noisy. There were a lot of background noises because like yeah, there are people talking. A naturalistic environment by using by removing the original audio and adding like classroom ambience and like people talking, and there are actually a total of 3 different samples of classroom ambience I used in these classroom shots. You know what, the part you should focus on. ooh, it's a glitch transition. So Rachel's moment of realization, because she looked at this. If you like just go through the frame, like, and like, you know, bam, like all red, like the only thing that's like stands out of this frame is this logo. And why is it? And so it flashes and you can see, looks familiar. Then bam, they're running. So it's a shot. It's like a transition. It acts like a match cut. Oh, like, see? Can you see the difference? Like, it becomes colder, right? And like they're running to the dark again. Like so they're running. It's a handheld shots, right? Because it's running and like everything is very unsteady and very unbalanced. But at least I think I don't use Dutch angle for this. I don't think it's like too imbalanced, because like you're running behind Joshua, who is like he's like a reliable guy, and for his characterization you'll see that like it's more steady. I think it's steadier than the shots where Rachel is just alone. So you know, when you have an accompany, and especially it's your best friend who you have a really close relationship with, a trusting relationship, so it's gonna be like a bit less worse, I suppose, less bad. Yeah, it's very dark over here, and this is when Joshua's noticed something's off about Rachel, because you know, you can see that he's running behind her, but now he already caught up with her. It's like maybe Rachel slowed down.
You okay?
So I use a close-up shot so you can see his face clearly. This is makeup, special effect makeup. So yeah, this you can also see Rachel. She's less bruised and like bloody compared to the first shot, the first scene, right? And again, you can hear this ticking sound effect. The clock ticking, time restriction, and these very cacophonous, and you're running and should not shot them. And yo, I absolutely love this scene. I love this scene, and you can see it's like a hollow hallway. So like there are so many doors, they're all open and they're all parallel. And like they're standing like, oh, it's beautiful, and that's why I made it the thumbnail of the film opening, because I love that shot. So yeah, I think this is very contrast, very low key. You can barely see them. So this is when and you can see bits of blood on Rachel's face, Rachel's shirt. Watch out! So he noticed. Joshua noticed, and there's a close up of him, looking and pushing Rachel to the side. I am not trying to portray that it's Rachel's fault that Joshua lost. This is all the characterization and the plot line that you'll be able to understand and see if you watch the full length movie, in which you are very unlikely to, but yeah, okay, let's move on. So it's very quick. It's a very quick shot. There, like he sees it and then moves to a close-up shot, and then another shot, full shot, so you can see him pushing her here, right? Pushing her to the side, and she's moved to the side, but he is falling down. And the music now is also more dramatic, which is also a symbolization of thriller films. And these like fast pick music, you can see there's something like this is a shuttlecock. So in this case, unfortunately, Joshua got hit by this shuttlecock, as you can see from both the sound, I think this, so you can not like that sound, and there's a hint, and it's a quick fast cut again, and like I think this is one of my favorite shots out of this entire film opening. It's a very fast match cut, and you can see that she's turning her head. And as she turned her head, she's gone back to the room, back to the classroom. Obviously, this is not a transport thing. It's just a match cut, and this is a different time of the day, and the previous scene is also a different time of the day. They're separately different. It's just the cuts and the mixture of it to form the storyline of this Anyone Absent Today. I try to film this from various angles and various shot types. So you can see, firstly, this is a close-up shot, right? And then you get to see a wide shot. So intentionally in my planning scene, I will show you here, I plan to make this an extreme wide shot. It's gonna be so drastic. It's gonna be like directly like at the back of the class, and like all of the students, they are doing work, and only Rachel has her head raised and look back. Like it's gonna be such a creepy scene, like very impactful. But then I couldn't do it because the lens of the camera is not wide enough. So like I try, like this is the farthest I can go. So we have this shot, and I filmed it from the side. I think it's not too bad looking, and still quite like that moment, and it's nice that the continuity is still maintained. You see, there are variations of the shot types, and I intended this because I want to give it a disorientation situation. I'm breaking the 180 rule. This is totally intentional because she just turned back from the previous scene. Feeling of a place that it seems familiar to you, the classroom that day, like 5 days of the week, now turned into something else. That gives you that strange vibe, that gives you the shivers down the spine. This is what I wanna portray. And in these scenes, in this scene, you can see the teacher over here. He's looking straight at us, breaking the fourth wall again, and it creates such a creepy vibe with like a very close up of Rachel, and like it's even a shallow depth of field. But then when you notice, someone's looking at us, audience, not at Rachel, at the audience. How creepy is that?
I don't see anyone.
And then at this scene, he's turned back to his book. Okay, now we have a flashback. At this spot, you can see that this is shallow depth of field. So Haley, this is Haley, by the way. Spoiler alert, this is Haley. She's gonna appear later, but you can see that she's blurred out. But at this point,
Passed by? Huh? I don't see anyone.
She is not blurred out, and because it's almost her turn to appear now, and I think I should do some kind of foreshadowing towards this. And I really like Lynn's acting at this shot. I think it's really natural. I really like it. She's so this spot, she's still in doubt, but a bit crunched up. And then when she closes her mouth, this is when her face is calmer, and she's from doubt to acceptance that okay, maybe it's just my imagination. This is the expression, and this is really good acting, and really good job. Flashback. So for dramatic effect, flashbacks, I think it's very common symbolism in thriller films already, especially with this black and white filter. I added this filter to make it stand out, to create more of a contrast between the shadows and Lynn, who is writing and focusing on her work. and the stuff like a cacophonous airy music starts now, and it's like elongated, and it's like, and now it's like the teacher who Haley thought, no, sorry, Rachel thought was the person who was behind her, but actually he's been sitting there. And like this is a bit of like this slow zoom effects in addition to this very disturbing background adds like very doubt, like I thought he was behind me, why is he stuff like that. Then we have a jump scare. So this is not a too big of a jump scare. I think it's just a subtle one. And I took this inspiration from Train to Busan. I am both terrified at the same time very impressed with their jump scares at the beginning of the film. Yeah, and so I learned from it, and I tried to implement this into my film. So at this I exaggerated the volume of the tap a bit, and there's like a sudden change in the visual as well, but it's not too weird, because I don't think I should provoke too much of like a weird feelings towards Haley, since she's like one of the leads as well. So this is not like Haley being the antagonist voice. Okay, so at this scene you can see Haley, who appears now in the close-up, but you can't really see her face. Her half of her face is cut out, and it's a bit blurry since it's a shallow depth of field. And
Do you have lip balm?
and the main focus is on her lips and the
I left mine at home.
I left mine at home, and then it moves down to the close-up of this entire spot, and you can notice okay, there's a necklace with like a cross, which is like religion, and like okay, so so something's about to happen next, and there's that sound bridge. Can you see? Can you hear that? So
Left
sound
mine at
bridge,
home.
there's a gaps, and then there's the glitch transitions, and there's the glitching. It's similar, but it's not. It's a bit different to the shot with the Elysium. Now this is a match cut again, and this is the same necklace, but it's on the floor with blood. And when you see blood in a thriller film, it doesn't mean anything good. It's blood, it's injuries, death, a lot of things. And this is also like how the audience can identify the codes and conventions of thriller. And oh my god, the fan is so loud. I'm so sorry. And you can see that even the blood has different colors. First of all, it's very difficult to mix acrylic paint and make it similar to blood. And I think that the fact that the colors are different and the way these swipes are, so there's splashes and they're like, it's like someone used their hand to like just like wipe them, and then like there's like blood caught over here. It's like, maybe what if that's not one person's blood, but many people's blood. You see her with that magenta
Anybody?
and knocking on and like hitting on the door and like trying to open it,
Hey!
and it's like she's locked by something, and it doesn't mean good. The color grading for this is also like a bit darker to compared to the other scenes. I added a vignette, so it creates more of like an airy feeling, and all very high contrast scenes. And as she goes up, you can see there's someone here, which is actually me. But so someone's like filming, right? The way that they hold the something, it looks like they're filming. Like Haley's literally asking for help, but then why is this person holding a phone and like not helping? Is that like a good sign? Is that a good sign? Is that That's weird, right? A connotation of like the neglectfulness in human nature. Because I've saw news of like accidents online and like people, instead of calling an ambulance or helping, they grab their phone and start filming, which is very neglectful and very bad of them to like not help a person, but instead to grab their phone to capture something and post on social media for attention. And we move to the last scene of a hallway. There is like it's suddenly dark and then and then something move and it's bright again, like right on speed. The exit, there are a lot of symbolization in here. The shadow, is this a shadow or is this a person standing on the other side? No one knows, right? But what was the thing that just like came off over here? Is it like a little finger or like a creature, like a shadow, another shadow? No one's gonna know. It's yellow and green. The yellow, which is like kind of like yellow is like it's a symbolization in those the dangerous signs. So yep, and it's a very dark scene too, which is not good. And the exit scene and the greenness from the exit scene. There's no exit, and I think this exit sign is a nice symbol in my film. So I really like liminal spaces, and I thought it was like a fun thing, like a really cool thing to have, and it also shows a lot about the content. Okay, we have the title, which is slowly getting smaller. Anyone anyone absent today is a story that takes place in a school environment. So keeping it with like a chalkboard, like a handwritten typeface would create that atmosphere. The letters are balanced, and this is what I came up with. So it's a mix of like handwritten, and there's like serif fonts and like. And what I'm trying to portray with this mix of typefaces is that, in school we have students and all of them, like no one has the same handwriting. So I think that the idea of like this title being written by like many people and not just like one style, I think it's a really nice way to portray this diverse world. And we also have the color, which is, I think this color combo of like red and black is like so commonly seen already, right? And you can see the subtle gradient too. And this color combo, red symbolizes a lot like danger, it's blood, it's death, and then black is just like depressing and death, and like there's a lot of darkness throughout this opening scene. So it's just no doubt that this is the color combo I will go for. It's like a large hit. It's very just knock the consciousness. Oh no, like knock the attention out of the for this is how it appears. So like it appears in between of this black background. I took this inspiration. I was inspired by Carrie, the modern version. My film, in contrast, these shots are very quick. So I think putting this and like adding to it, it makes this title sequence seems more impactful for the fact that they couldn't read, they couldn't like no, it may struggle them to read the title sequence even. And so it's like adding to the pace, because like this is a necessary part of the title sequence, right? But then if I add it like somewhere in between, it's gonna be like slow down the pacing, which is not suitable for my film at all, considering it's a fast-paced film. So I think this is like a really good decision to do that. So as you can tell from all of the long analysis, you can see that my thriller film, it does follow quite a lot of the codes and conventions of thriller films and like horror films. Did I challenge anything? Firstly, I've already put quite an emphasis on this. My film follows a reverse chronological order. I don't think this is like too unique, but like compared to like all the films in the market, I don't think a lot of films do this. And especially with thriller films, it's not a really good idea to like spoil the plot from the very beginning that he lost because of this, and like, you're gonna recognize all of these hints if you watch the film in like such an order, right? So it's not gonna be interesting. The hero's cycle, the hero's route or journey, that's what people commonly use it for. I think it's a really good structure, and I've built my stories upon that too, my other stories upon that too. But no, it's not unique, and I think it's not gonna be like a very enigmatic and very intriguing opening scene. So I took the risk and I built the story with the reverse chronological order. I don't have much experience writing stories like this, so I know it's gonna be difficult, but I think for the opening scene, for just this 2 minutes, it's done a good job. I think it's done a great job at creating that mysterious world, an enigma for the audience to like. There's so many questions in this opening scene, and I have received questions in my feedback form and in my impression form too. So I think that I have done successfully in creating an enigma for the audience to pursue them to continue watching this film. So yes, that is one of the things that I think I break the conventions for. The fact that this title sequence that appears in between of these running shots can be a break in the conventions as well, considering that like most of the normal the film, they would just appear right at the start and then they start the action part. But I incorporate that into my film in this way, and I think I am happy with this, how this turned out. I think it's a creative move. It's not the most original idea. I am inspired from Carrie, so obviously it's not my idea, but yeah, it's a nice way to promote that fast pacing story that I'm going for this story, for Anyone Absent Today, while making sure that all the necessity of a normal film is maintained. So yeah, that's another successful point of mine. We also have the female lead. So this could be or could not be intentionally breaking the conventions, because in past movies, and this is a problem, the male lead, and the male lead is always like saving the female lead, like damsel in distress. And from this scene, yes, Rachel is saved by Joshua, but there is so much more than that. Rachel is a cool girl. She's really smart. She's really perceptive. At this stage, she's just like went through so much, and like something's wrong with her mind too, and just like the bad things just keep happening to you when you don't expect it. It's not in her nature that she's like this. It's just a plot line, and having a male lead and a female lead, and she's gonna be the last survivor and just show that there are strong female representations in thriller films, and they are not always the one being saved, and they're gonna stay strong and use their wits to overcome all of these challenges and not be like dependent on someone else. So that's the character I want to build for Rachel. And this concludes our codes and conventions part of this video. I know it's been quite long. I filmed for 2 hours, speaking non-stop. This is incredible. Now let's move on to the representations.